pace car is off and we're ready to go green from Road America for road course race number 3 on the season. Just a few weeks ago, we were at Sonoma where you saw Chaos and Ross Chastain go to victory lane here, as this time out it's going to be Christopher Bell and Chase Elliott leading the field to the green flag. As we are underway from Road America right off the bat, we see Joey Logano picking up the aggression there. No surprise to see that number 22 Shell Pennzoil Ford Mustang sending one up the inside, 3 wide into turn 1, and what a move that is from Logano there into turn 1. But Jay, it looks like Elliott's going to have the early advantage there, and he's going to make the pass already on Christopher Bell, who drifts backwards.
Logano, Blaney, Truex still all 3 wide. Now it's Blaney slipping back, and now it's still Logano 3 wide to the inside. He is being super aggressive to start this race, and now he's 3 wide with 2 Joe Gibbs teammates, and still they can't get it figured out. Christopher Bell under attack from his teammate of Martin Truex Jr., Joey Logano. Again, they're still going at it there. Christopher Bell finally gets clear, and now they're finally settled out to 2 wide, which is still sketchy to go down into this heavy braking zone, but they all make it through. Actually, they go crashing in the background.
Austin Dillon goes for a spin there. That's we saw him spin in Sonoma. It looks like he might have got a little help right there into the very heavy braking zone. Is that going to be a caution, though? That is the question that we all need to know. Now, as it goes both ways with road courses, no yellow. We do stay green. We'll get a look here momentarily at the conclusion of this first lap of what just happened there with Austin Dillon. A little bit wide goes BJ McLeod in that number 78 here in this midfield. Jay, that's where it's always chaos in these road courses now. And look at the damage on the number 17 of Chris Buescher. He's got damage. Kyle Busch has got damage. William Byron as well. And now those are all drivers we saw right there in the mix with the 3 cars. So I'm assuming all very related incidents, but that is not something you can afford on just lap 1 of this race. Kyle Busch with a close moment there.
Yeah, to make it worse for Kyle Busch, he just got cut off by the damaged 17 of Chris Buescher, and Chris Buescher's got damage on both ends of that car. His front end's pretty crumpled, but so is the rear end as well, so you'd have to think that maybe that heavy braking zone was the result of pretty much all these guys' damage back here, and still as well, I just saw Byron, I think, got taken 2 wide for a moment, or it might have been Almirola and Reddick. Either way, not a good first lap for the 17 or the 18 of Kyle Busch as well, but up here, it's Chase Elliott leading the way, and he's got a pretty good margin on Christopher Bell, who was able to slot himself into second place over his teammate Martin Truex Jr., and Gary, that guy right there, that 19 of Martin Truex Jr., that's going to be a guy to certainly watch out for, and Chase Elliott probably wants to pull away from him as fast as possible.
4 wins on the season for Martin Truex Jr., including last week again in Nashville. What a season it has turned into for that number 19 Bass Pro Shops Toyota Camry driver there. As you see, as well, Truex has announced he will return next season to Joe Gibbs Racing. Chastain and Denny Hamlin, 2 great friends on the circuit here, trying to work against each other. And this is actually the battle for the last spot inside the stage points. Kyle Busch, he stayed out on the track, but it looks like we did have some cars potentially come into the pit lane at the end of that first lap. Yes, we had William Byron in the 34 of McDowell. It looks like the 17 is actually going to be out of the race. Yes. Here's a look at what happened to Austin Dillon. It was a chain reaction here as there was some checking up on the inside with Kyle Busch, the 17, the 43, the 24. They all pile into each other. Austin Dillon's just on the receiving end of the pile driving, and around he goes in that number 3. Kyle Busch into the pits. I'm assuming that's going to be some repairs being done on that number 18 M&M's Toyota Camry. Here goes Suarez up the inside of Kurt Busch. Has the momentum here into the braking zone, side by side into turn 1. Kurt Busch has a really good run off the corner. Suarez right there gets cleared again by that Monster Energy Toyota Camry here into turn 2. And for Ryan Blaney and Logano goes way wide, opens the door wide open for Kevin Harvick there now, as you got drivers up here that are battling for the points lead all up in the mix. And actually Logano clips the grass right there, opens the door for Kyle Larson as well.
Maybe not the best place for him to shine, but he still wants to have a little bit better than a little bit better of a run than 10th place, 8.8 seconds off the lead.
Absolutely, we'll see if they can get some adjustments in that FedEx Toyota Camry. Chase Elliott comes through to win stage 1. Truex there in 3rd, and keep an eye on him because every race that Truex has won this season, he didn't start out the strongest car, but he certainly ended the strongest car. Denny Hamlin gets that final stage point. Chastain, Kurt Busch, Suarez all come up just short.
Actually, never mind. Christopher Bell is going to be the one to get out in front of them here, and actually he gets out way ahead. And I think Eric Jones stayed on the racetrack, so Eric Jones, as long as he doesn't pit, is going to wind up being our leader. And Chase Elliott just lost out to Keselowski as well, and maybe to Hamlin. He just lost a ton of spots, Gary.
Ready to go back green here from Road America. Pace car is off, and Christopher Bell, your pole winner, who came up short of a stage win there in stage 1 of Chase Elliott, is going to line back up here in P1 with Eric Jones, who stayed out on the track in second place. We're back underway here for stage 2 from Road America, and immediately, Jay, there you see not only Eric Jones, but Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Alex Bowman, a bunch of drivers getting aggressive here down into turn 1, and that 43 is going to send one nearly up the inside. Doesn't quite work out there, as they're going to be maybe 3 wide on the exit of turn 2.
Christopher Bell had to cut off Eric Jones there, and Eric Jones actually did not allow that to happen. Makes the move into turn 2 side by side. Chase Elliott with a rocket ship already up to third place. He is having he's got an absolute rocket ship of a car, and actually might be challenging Eric Jones for second place in just a moment down into the heavy braking zone. This was an issue last time on the restart. Look at him power around the outside of Eric Jones. Thought he was going to make a move on Christopher Bell. He's looking to the inside, but Bell shuts the door, and Christopher Bell stays in the lead, but it is not going to be long, Gary, before we see Chase Elliott take the lead. He might even do it right here into the left-hander. Looks like he's going to be side-by-side. He will be side-by-side. Chase Elliott, not going to take him long at all to go from 5th to 1st.
Look who's up into third now. Denny Hamlin has somehow gotten up into third. Elliott nearly wide, a little bit wide right there. That's probably what you need if you're Christopher Bell, but not wide enough, because that 9 car is still right there. Well, he look up the inside. No, he will not, so he holds off that Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet Hendrick Motorsports car. Briefly there in the background, I think saw the number 12 of Ryan Blaney go a little bit wide there as they head through this long sweeping carousel. Last season we saw this carousel bite a couple of drivers here, but so far today everyone's been able to get through there relatively clean. Kyle Larson right there a little bit wide and actually off the circuit just a tad bit now as you see him fading down the order a little bit, but so far so good. And Jay, look who's way off the pace there. The number 45 of Kurt Busch. The 38 has a lot of damage. The 45 has a bunch of rear end damage. We have to wonder maybe if that 45 got spun around, and we talked about the bad luck Kurt Busch has had this year. I'm assuming we can add that to the list all the way at the back of the grid. Here's a look at what happened to Kurt Busch. He sure enough did get turned around by the number 10 of Eric Almirola right there. Turns him right around, and Almirola with a lot of damage on the front end. Gilliland you saw get into the back of the car in front of him, of Byron I believe that was, a bunch of damage on the 38, and Kurt Busch gets turned around. Now Almirola and Gilliland have since retired from the race due to the damage they have picked up on this opening lap of stage 2. Okay. Yeah, usually Kevin Harvick's just complaining about road course racing here, but having a nice run so far now as he's up the inside of the 43 of Jones, and Jones is making it difficult for everybody, it looks like so far here in Road America, not letting it happen very easily there. Harvick trying to go the long way around to that number 43 Focus Factor Chevrolet for RPM, and look how close it is right there between the two drivers battling for the regular season championship currently, and Jones is able to keep his number 43 ahead now, is up in the top 3. Denny Hamlin's joining the party here. Christopher Bell, who's got speed. I mean, there's some good speed, Jay, in that number 20 car, but it's clear that 9 car, and it appears even the 11 of Denny Hamlin now have faster cars than that 20, but this clean air track position could be big for that number 20 of Christopher Bell, and hopes to keep his car ahead and win the stage.
Who's been able to hold off Harvick and Martin Truex Jr. so far, and now even Keselowski being brought into the conversation as well, Gary. Brad Keselowski in 7th place for that 6 car. That's there's a caution out on the track, actually. And
Kurt Busch.
It might be for Kurt Busch.
Kurt Busch's day has potentially gone from bad to worse. The yellow flag is out. Here's a look at what happened and why we're under caution. It's Ryan Blaney. You're going to see the 14 of Briscoe actually go wide here into turn 2. Blaney makes contact and then slams into the side of his teammate of Austin Cindric, goes around, and surprisingly, they threw a caution for that. Pit stops occurring here in stage 2 towards the end, and we're going to have about a 2-lap sprint from the looks of it. But Jay, while many pit, we got 2 Hendrick cars staying on the track. That's Chase Elliott, that's Alex Bowman, and it looks like nobody else is going to join them. So an interesting call from the 2 Hendrick teammates. Actually, it looks like AJ Allmendinger is going to join them. So we ready to go back green for this 2-lap sprint here in stage 2. Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, AJ Allmendinger, who's been struggling here today, who's been a king of road course racing, now up into 3rd place. Denny Hamlin, the first car on fresh tires. Immediately, Jay, you're going to see him dive down to the inside, but here comes Bowman up the inside of Chase Elliott into turn 1 with a move, but it doesn't look like it's going to work, but here he goes. He's got to run down towards turn 2.
Teammates who stayed on the track fighting for the lead of this race. Denny Hamlin's already up into 3rd past AJ Allmendinger. He just went on the pit lane and was able to win that race off pit road, and Alex Bowman's going to win that race versus his teammate against Chase Elliott. So for the first time today, we have a lead change on the track in green flag conditions, and that's Alex Bowman, who just made a great call to stay out on track. Might be able to steal this stage win away from Chase Elliott, Gary.
The run down towards the heavy braking zone. We've seen somebody get turned in this braking zone on every restart so far, so let's pay attention to these cars in there. Harvick's wide. Not what you wanted for Kevin Harvick, but it could have been a lot worse. Oh, there it is. The 31 gets turned sideways. That was a pretty minimal incident compared to the other ones we've seen, but not what you want if you're Haley, the Circuit of the Americas winner, who's already locked into the playoffs. Been a rough season for Haley. He has also backed it up with a top 5 finish, so we'll see if that streak continues today as he exits the final turn, and he's gonna, you know, pretty well steal a stage victory here as he's gonna come through to cross the line to win stage 2. Elliott in second place, Denny Hamlin third, so it's Hendrick Motorsports 1-2, JGR 3-4, Colleague in fifth with AJ Allmendinger. Keselowski having another back-to-back competitive week there inside the top 10. Eric Jones gets the final stage point over Cole Custer. Ready to go green for stage 3. Denny Hamlin now leads. The 3 drivers that stayed out under the last caution. Bowman, Elliott, Allmendinger all had to come into the pit lane, so they are well outside of the top 10. And there is a green flag pit stop, or at least a pit stop necessary for everybody here to make it to the end of this race. So we'll see how these strategies work out for these drivers now. Elliott, Bowman, Allmendinger might have really hurt themselves here today in this final stage. Brad Keselowski is going to send one up the inside here of the number 6, or of the number 20 in that number 6 car. Jay, we talked about Keselowski had a great week last week for the first time this season, having a great week today here, or a great day today in Road America. He's about 100 points below the cut line, so realistically a must-win scenario for Keselowski, but all of a sudden it's almost like that RFK machine has the speed to maybe contend for a must-win.
He's done a great job of gaining a lot of positions so far in this race and doing a fantastic job now up in the third place. To got to defend, though, from 2 guys we've seen have a lot of speed so far in this race, Gary Martin Truex Jr. and Kevin Harvick. Both those guys so far have been running in the top 5 for a lot of this race. And, oh, we just saw
Chastain and Larson.
Yeah, Larson got hit right there a little bit by Chastain. Not too much damage, I think, to either car. That was one of the lighter contacts we've seen so far in the heavy braking zone in this race. But still, once again, every single time on a restart, we've had at least one piece of contact happen in that braking zone. That has been the trouble spot so far in this race, Gary.
Strategy at the end, and actually Logano lapped about 3/4 of the field, just with weird timing of the cautions. And wow, Jay, we got cars coming to the pit lane very early, as that is not what we expect to see. And suddenly you have to wonder, they're going to have 8 laps of racing to go. All of these cars, that is right on the cusp of a fuel run. But what is Elliott and them doing? They might remain on the track. Yes, they are. These guys staying out one more lap.
Oh, that could be magic for Suarez.
That could be huge for Daniel Suarez, and I mean, wow, this completely opens up a whole new ball game right here.
Not have a bad one like we had last time on pit road, and gets out and away from his box.
Well, oh, he just hit the wall.
Not well at all. He just hit the pit wall. Christopher Bell just ruined his own race, not able to miss the pit wall. Maybe not as bad a damage as I thought it would be from slapping a wall with his car. It actually looks like he might be okay, but Gary, he might still have to come to the pit lane to fix that.
There's definitely a little bit of damage there on the front end of that 20. We'll see. I mean, even if he doesn't pit, I'm sure that's going to slow him down just a little bit, maybe enough to put him under attack from Keselowski and Martin Truex Jr., who appear to already be doing exactly that. There, look at the difference today. There is some serious damage to that number 20.
That number 20 of Christopher Bell, we were highlighting, saying other guys around the bubble were having issues. He was having a fantastic race. Well, he just ruined his own race. You could clearly see down that straightaway right there. He is suffering for performance. It may not affect him on most other places on this track aside from that straightaway and the front straightaway. You're not too worried about speed here, but still, I would think he has to come to the pit lane. I mean, even here, actually, he was almost getting pounced on by Ty Dillon right there, Gary. There's a severe lack of speed in that 20 car. Martin Truex Jr., if he wants to try and save fuel, I don't know about anybody else being able to save fuel. Oh, this is going to be a big move from Eric Jones. He takes it 3 wide into turn number 1. Christopher Bell stays on the racetrack and forces maybe a little bit of stack up here. And Eric Jones still being, he's been aggressive in this race so far, been aggressive blocking, making aggressive moves, makes another one right there and gets the pass done, at least on Christopher Bell, who actually gets a little bit loose that time. So he makes things worse for himself as well, almost goes off track, holding up that 16 of AJ Allmendinger.
As they come through out of the final turn, and Elliott is going to pit. So Elliott is in. Bowman is in, and we expect to see Suarez join. Yes, they're all going to come in this time, and let's see what they elect to do here. But it looks like they are going to come out ahead of, say, where Ryan Blaney was now. At least Elliott and Bowman. Well, Daniel Suarez. It looks like Suarez might as well. Where is Ryan Blaney? There's Ryan Blaney right there. So, I mean, not much of a gain on the 2-tire strategy here. But Daniel Suarez, who was towards about 30th place. It was not a good run for Daniel Suarez. Approaching this final lap here now. And Jay, if they're confident they're going to make it, I'm sure he's going to stay out right here. So, let's see what happens. Is that number 11 is going to remain on the circuit. Yes, so and now he has committed. Do you think he can make it to the end of this race? As it looks like everybody so far is going to remain on the track, so they all must be pretty confident.
They all either must be really confident, or they're gambling and want to stay out on this racetrack and see if they can make it to the end of this race without running out of fuel. It's a long way around this Road America course. It's a long track, so this last lap, even though there's only one to go, it's still about 3 miles, I think it is, this racetrack. It's close to it, so it's a long way to go for these guys to make it around one more time. But now if you're Denny Hamlin, you have a 3-second gap. If there's any question mark that you can make it, I think you save and use all of that 3-second gap that you can.
5 playoff points is what it will equate to for Denny Hamlin as he rounds the final corner, and sure enough, he hangs on as everybody looks like they will hang on. Denny Hamlin up the hill. He is going to come through for the second time this season to be a Cup Series winner there. 5 more playoff points. Martin Truex Jr. with another incredible run for second place. Keselowski and Briscoe and Ty Dillon in the top 5 here as the rest of the field comes through. Elliott inside the top 10. BJ McLeod is going to hold off Tyler Reddick for the 10th position from the looks of it as they come through to cross the line. And yes, he holds on to a top 10. Daniel Suarez with a decent recovery drive right there in the 16th place across the line as you see the rest of the field coming through, as you as well see a lot of rough days and rough beat up cars, and Christopher Bell is going to be the last one to eventually cross the line in that number 20 in what could have been for that number 20 of Christopher Bell, as well as Allmendinger in the back. But Denny Hamlin goes to victory lane once again here on the season now, and Jay has established himself maybe as the next guy in line behind Martin Truex Jr. that might be getting ready to potentially go on maybe a bit of a summer kind of tear here now. You can never rule out Denny Hamlin. When he gets hot, he really gets going.
And